guess what in the world is this, and how is it going to help me do my sermon? And you can't see it. Anyone want to? You can't see it. Will you tell her what it is? It's a frog. So I'm going to put this frog right here, and you can wonder all during this sermon, all during this service, what in the world a frog has to do with today.
The prince.
It's going to ribbon. It's going to say Happy Valentine's.
Realization of God.
Okay, that's right. That's right. You don't want to give away my secret. All right, so I am just delighted because this is one of my favorite months in the entire year. How about you? It's the month of love. And you said that so well, didn't he? He's got the hang of it. It's a month of love. And so we're looking at love in many different ways. And today I'll be teaching you a brand new spiritual practice on radiating love. You're going to love it because I practice this. I found this. I've been practicing this for quite some time and I absolutely love it. But I begin because we're looking at letting love be our guide and what that means. And so I'll start by just saying this. I love when people share with me the words from Dr. Ernest Thompson and describe our teaching. And I'm going to share with you exactly. He said, our teaching on love is the correlation of the laws of science, the opinions of philosophy, and the revelations, I had to say it like that, I sound like a frog now, the revelations of all spiritual paths, combined to meet the needs and aspirations of humankind. I love that. I so love that for a couple of reasons. So first of all, I love the idea of weaving together science. I have a science degree and I love science. So weaving together science, the idea of science, spirituality, and philosophy. And so our founder studied all of these things and brought it all together in a beautiful teaching called the science of mind. And it's the science of the mind of God. So I love that. And this beautiful New Thought teaching that we are in is not just a spiritual theory or theological rhetoric that we contemplate on Sunday only, and then you leave here to go play in the snow and you forget about love, or you forget about your divinity. It's not about that. It's about being that, realizing that every moment and every day. It's a practical, hands-on, and it's a way of life. We call it a philosophy of faith, a way of life that supports us in attaining our aspirations and achieving our dreams. Who has a dream? How many of you have a dream? How many of you have more than one dream? Good, she has many. Yay. So many, many dreams. And so this month we're going to explore the question that is so wonderful about letting love be our guide, and to ask ourselves in any situation we're in, what would love do? What would love do in this situation? And so I love that idea. And this is an interesting question because a lot of times we have other questions that we ask ourselves. Like a lot of us who may be struggling with finances might ask the question, can I afford this? Or they might even say, I can't afford this. Anyone ever say that? I'd like to go to Hawaii right now, but, and then they'll fill in the blank, right? They'll say that. What will people think of me if I do such and so and so? So that's another thing that people might say, or what do people expect of me? So these might sound a little bit familiar to you because this is the month when we are embracing love, and our teaching, what I love about our teaching is that whenever we embrace something, whatever that is, let's say we embrace love, anything unlike love has an opportunity to come up for healing and to come up for releasing. It's like an example that I like to use for foundations classes. Picture a beautiful glass of water, crystal clear. I just heard that we have one of the best waters in all of Canada. Have you heard that? Yeah. So we have amazing water. So imagine we have this crystal clear glass of water, and on the bottom, there's some little specks of dirt. Do you want to drink that? If it has dirt or mud in it? So if you pour more water, clear water into it, then what happens is the dirt rises to the top so that it can be released. And same with us. We are like a container of water. We actually, our bodies, they say, are about 80% water. It doesn't feel like that. So when we pour in love or when we express love, anything unlike love comes out for healing. So I love that. So I found this reading. It's actually from the 14th century. And it's a contemplative article on love. And it says this. It says that a soul is one with God. A soul is one with spirit. And it says that many of us, our desires and our beliefs and our ideas and our situations and our, all that we are, we think sometimes that we're separate from the divine. Anyone have an experience where you felt completely isolated, completely separate, and you forgot who you were, right? We have that experience sometimes. And so the truth is that we're never, ever separate from the divine. We are always one with the divine. And so the thing that I love about this teaching is that we are one with the Creator. So every time you think, you are thinking with the mind of the divine. Every time you think, if you are one with God, you are one with Buddha, you are one with Jesus, you are one with whatever name you want to call it, because the divine doesn't really care what you call it, because it knows who it is. Every time you think, you are thinking with the mind of the divine. And that's huge. I'll take it a little step further. If God is everywhere present, and we are one with God, then you are everywhere present. Have you ever thought about that? That's kind of a big thought, isn't it? Part of you, your soul self, your divine self, is everywhere present. It's kind of interesting. So, in this teaching, which I find I like to use the word yummy, I also like to use that when I eat something really good. It's so delicious. And because we are one with God, the kind of life that we live, do you love and are you living the life that you want? Are you living? Some of you are nodding your heads. How about, is there anyone here that might have something a little bit different, or maybe a little bit more money, a little bit more health, a little bit more fun and laughter? A little bit more harmony, peace. Anyone want more? Okay, so, that is everything that we desire, everything that you want is already here. It's inside of you. And so it's up to us to allow that to come out, to open a way for that love to come out. So really embracing that idea of love. So your desires, you're made out of love, here to love. And your desires are one with the mind of God, one with God. And therefore, when you speak them, you say, I desire to be healthy. I want more health. You have spoken that with and activated your individualized self, aligning it with spirit. So how much power is in there? How much power is in you? Louise L. Hay said, there's so much love. There's so much love in you that you have enough for the whole world. Do you ever feel that? Do you ever wake up and say, I am so loving, I have enough love for the whole world? That doesn't happen too often, right? Well, today's practice, you will learn how to do that in such a powerful way. I'm so excited. I'll share that in just a little bit. So the truth is that we are divine beings made out of love, here to love, letting love be our guide. And God, Ernest Holmes says that God is more completely expressed through the one who lives largely than through the one who lives meagerly. It's kind of an interesting quote, I think, from Holmes. And yet I know some of us here in this room, we're struggling. We're struggling. Anyone here struggle? Yeah. So some of us are struggling. We might be downtrodden, burdened, oppressed, living meagerly. And I get that. I understand that. And I want you to know something very, very important, is that you came today to the right place at the right time this morning. If you chose to log on as a computer talk, to be here today, and to open up to receive it, because there's something either in a song or in today's message or something that a practitioner will say that will change your life if you are open to that. That will change your life if you're open to that. Something in a song or a prayer that's offered. Because the divine is waiting for you to say yes, to open up and to allow this magnificent love that you are already to express through you. So when we think of letting love be our guide, we think in terms of the way we can relate to people. Sometimes we think of it that way. But this morning I mean in additional context. With letting love be our guide, what would love do? And I mean it in the context of letting what you would love be your guide. How many of you wake up in the morning and say, I love my life? You do. How many of you really feel that? Okay, you wake up and you say, isn't this the most amazing planet? Look at all the blessings. We have abundance of snow. Yay! See? If you run out of things to count, you can count the snowflakes. You can't even count them. There's so many. So we let love be our guide. It means that you focus on letting what you love guide you. Have you ever let what you love guide you? If it were not for the love of the Wright brothers, who remembers the Wright brothers? They weren't the wrong brothers. They were the Wright brothers. We could not fly an airplane. If it were not for the love of scientists and inventors and discoveries, we would not have electricity, we would not have heating, light, we would not have cars, cell phones, appliances, or computers to use. Without someone letting love be their guide, there would be no teachers, no schools. There would be no books, no art, and no music. He's making a pouty face up there. No music. Each and every one of these things was created because someone answered the question, what would love do? What would love do? And they let the answer be that question to guide them. So take a moment right now, just a moment, to think about what you truly love and what you would love to do. Over the weekend, someone mentioned they had a bucket list. Has anyone here made I haven't done mine yet. Anyone here made a bucket list? I thought it was, you make those when it's time to hit the, what is it? Hit the bucket? Kick the bucket, okay, yeah. I haven't made mine yet, but what a good idea, just to have a list of things that you love and that you want to do. So, Rhonda Byron said this in page 17 of her book called The Power. She said, people who have great lives think and talk about what they love more than what they don't love. And people who are struggling think and talk about what they don't love more than what they do love. So I'm going to say that again. When I read this quote, as I found it this week, it really registered with me. And I thought, there's some places in my life where I do that. I do that. So I'll read it again. People who have great lives think and talk about what they love more than what they don't love. And people who are struggling think and talk about what they don't love more than what they do love. So I'm going to invite you, when we're talking about love, to look at what is really amazing and right in your life. I did my whole radio show on this week. What is right about our world? What is right about the snow? What is right about Kamloops? What is right about the world? What is right about your partner? And if you begin to focus on what is right, it literally shifts you out of any kind of depression. Anyone ever do depression? I visit there once in a while, but I don't build a condo there. Yeah. So I have that new tool. What is right about everything, about person? Think of someone right now, talking about what's right. Think of someone right now that you have difficulty with. Anyone have difficulty with someone? I love an honest group here. So think about that person that you have difficulty with, and say to yourself, what is right about them? And if you can focus on that, it will literally shift you. This is a part of the Abraham Hicks teaching. You want to find one thing about someone that you really like, that you don't like, or that you have difficulty with. Find one thing you like about them and focus on that, and it literally shifts you into a whole new experience. So I love that. What is right? In Science of Mind, Holmes says this, I love it. He says, whatever we think, this is part of our reading, whatever you think about comes about. Whatever you think, believe in, feel, visualize, vision, image, read, and talk about, in fact, all processes which affect and impress us in any way are going into our subconscious mind, and they affect us. So that's why you want to have positive regard. What is right about my life? What is right about my world? What is right about the snow? What is right about everything? And it literally shifts you because it affects us. So you may say this is all well and good, but I'm struggling just to make ends meet. Maybe some of you are feeling that way. I've got no time, no energy, or no resources to focus on what I love. And what I want to say about that is that with a great deal of love in my heart, I want to say this, that you are telling yourself a lie, and you are believing it. If you say you have no time, you have no money, and you can't do something, you are telling yourself a lie, and you are believing it. Because that is not the truth of who you are. It is not the truth of who we are, period. It's not the truth of the divine. And I'm not saying to quit your job so you can become an artist if that's what you like. I'm just saying you have to find time in your life to do the things that you truly love. What about if you spent time each day seeing yourself as an artist? And I brought this along to show you as an example. For some reason that I don't even understand, I have been really drawn to Chinese brush painting. I have never done it, but I feel really drawn to it. What about, I'm not going to quit my ministry and go paint Chinese art, right? Unless someone wants to pay me a lot of money. But why couldn't I spend a couple minutes a day? This is the most wonderful thing I have to show you because it's so exciting to me. It actually opens up and it has everything here. It has paints, it has brushes, it has art, and it has an instruction book. There's no reason why I can't do this. I could spend a few minutes a day doing this because it's something I love and I'm drawn to. I love this. And so I decided to show you as an example. It's been sitting in my closet for at least 10 years. So I'm just saying. Do as I say and not as I do. So find what you love, do what you love, and let love guide you. What do you love? What is your passion? What calls you? What makes you come alive? Because what this world needs is people who are alive and passionate and doing what they love. And just in case you think you have to do this all by yourself, you were given many, many, many examples of we're not alone, we have friends. I say that friends are the flowers in the garden of life. You have friends, you have family members that support you, and you have the whole entire universe upon universe that loves you and supports you. In Psalms 37:5, it says this in the Lamsa version of the Holy Scriptures, trust in the divine, and she shall give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord, trust in him, and he shall bring it to pass. I think that's a pretty direct promise to all of us. And our part is simply to find what we love and let love be our guide. To trust and trust. And I want to share with you this true story, and this is where Frog comes in. Okay, why does she have a frog up there? And this is from one of my ministerial colleagues. And it's about a woman named Laura. Laura was having a really, really, really rough day. Upset, unhappy, angry. Anyone ever have that? Upset, angry, unhappy, crying, and generally not being very nice to anyone who crossed her path. Maybe you've had a day like that. Maybe you've been that. Definitely not trusting in God or in good, and definitely not loving her life or herself, right? She went to the bank to deposit her paycheck through a drive-up teller, one of those that has one of those tube things. And the teller was very kind and kept trying to support Laura. How can I help you? Said the teller. Is there something I can do for you? And Laura said, no, just cash my check. The teller then said to her, I am sending you a little something in an envelope. So she stuck a little something in an envelope. Think of what it might be. A little something in an envelope and sent it to Laura with cashing her paycheck. She took it and she just threw it on the seat of her car. She didn't even open it. So let me pause for a moment from Laura's story to tell you another story. So this is a story inside of a story that Laura had heard several years ago. She was attending a center similar to ours And she heard this story, and this story is about this frog. Not this frog, but a frog. So, a woman was lying in the hospital. This is the story in the story. A woman was lying in the hospital bed near death when a beautiful young woman came and sat by her bed. The visitor spent time, loving time with the patient, telling her how much she was loved and listening to her and offering her comfort. When the visitor left, she gave the patient a small gift. It was a tiny ceramic frog. The patient thought it a bit odd that a beautiful woman would visit her in the hospital, be very kind to her, and leave her a frog. Who would have thought? However, she wasn't feeling very well, so she did not really care. So she asked the visitor to place the frog on the shelf over her bed. Shortly after the visit, this patient who was very ill, did a rally. Who knows what a rally is? When you're very, very sick and all of a sudden you get better, you have a rally. So she rallied and experienced a seemingly miraculous recovery. It was a miraculous recovery. A nurse entered the room and after checking on the patient somewhat in disbelief, said, "What happened?" And then the patient said this little frog was placed on the shelf behind her. As she looked at the frog, she said, I've seen a number of these little frogs in patients' rooms before. Every single one of them miraculously recovered. It was delivered by a beautiful young woman, wasn't it? Asked the nurse. And every such patient described her, yet no one except those patients had ever seen her. The patient did not understand this until the nurse said, "Turn the frog over." So she took the frog on the shelf and she turned it over, and it said this. It said FROG. It was an acronym that means fully rely on God. Fully rely on God. Now back to Laura. When she got in her car the day after her encounter with the bank teller, she saw the envelope the teller had given her and finally remembered. Okay, she tossed it aside. So she opened up the envelope, and what did she find inside? A frog. And then she remembered that story. And so the frog became a reminder to her that when you let love be your guide, you are fully relying on the divine. You are fully relying on God. And so I made a gift for each of you. I'm going to have Ken pass it out right now. Pam, maybe you can help me. And it's actually a picture of this little frog. And I want you to put this in your wallet or in your purse or on your mirror, on your refrigerator, someplace you visit often. The ladies' room. On the mirror. Place this card in your wallet. And you're going to be surprised at how many times you find it. You're going to be looking, you're going to open your wallet to get some money out for something, and it's going to say, fully rely on God. And you're going to remember every time you see a frog, from now on, you are going to remember to fully rely on God. Very powerful thing. And we, every one of us, can truly, completely, and powerfully rely on the divine as well to bring forth the desires of our heart. When we think, we are thinking with the mind of God. Remember, all the power there is created you out of itself. To be here on this planet at the best time is the time of the Great Awakening. When everyone on the planet, all this is happening so that we can awaken to our spiritual magnificence. That's why we're here on planet Earth. And we can truly, completely, and totally rely on that power. The power that creates worlds is the same power that is in you, in me, and in every single being on this planet. So we're going to do now a spiritual practice. I'm going to have Ken hand that out, keeping him busy. Keeping him busy, keeping him out of trouble. And this meditation is so powerful, and it comes with a graphic. We're going to do this together, and then we're just going to go right into our meditation time. You're going to be amazed at how this feels. I've been doing this for a while now. Absolutely love it. And as you look at the picture, you are that bright light. You are that bright light of love in this world. You are that. And this is for you to take home and again put in a place that you visit often. You are that bright spot of light on this planet. You, that is you. And we're going to do this together. It's called Radiating Love. And it's the month of love, and we want to let love be our guide. What would love do? What would love say? What do I love about everything? What do I love about the snow? Someone was sharing this morning, it took them half an hour to sweep the snow off their car. Anyone have that experience? They had to brush the snow. It took them 30 minutes to brush the snow off their car so they could get here. What do I love about that? They're here. Yes, they're here. All right, so what I want you to do, I'm going to show you first, and then we're going to do this together. And you're going to be using your hands. So you can put that on your lap. And I want you to imagine, close your eyes, and imagine that divine love, the divine love energy, the energy that creates worlds, is rushing, pouring, streaming, flowing through you. It's coming in through the top of your head. It's going through your heart, and it's coming out of your hands. And I want you to imagine in between your hands, as you pull them out, the earth. I want you to imagine that you are sending this love directly from the divine through your heart, through your hands, into and around and blessing this earth. And we're going to say this together, but let me say it first. You're going to say, may I and every being and all of creation be blessed exceedingly and without exception. And I'll just say it, and you just say it after me. May I and every being and all of creation be blessed exceedingly and without exception. May I and every being and all of creation be blessed exceedingly and without exception. One more time. May I and every being and all of creation be blessed exceedingly and without exception. And you see how that feels? I can feel it coming out of my hands, flowing through me, blessing the entire planet. And you can use the same thing with your family. You can say the same statement. May I and every member of my family be blessed exceedingly and without exception. May every member of this center be blessed exceedingly and without exception. And that's what I say every single day. This is a new part of my new spiritual practice. To be radiating love, divine love, through my heart, through my hands, to every single being, to myself, every being, and all of creation, exceedingly and without exception. Feels really good to do that. And so with that in mind, let us anchor all of this into our prayer time. I begin that with just a beautiful reading from Holmes, and then we'll just go right into the closing treatment for today. Dr. Holmes says, begin to blot out one by one all of your false beliefs, all ideas that you are limited or poor or miserable. Refuse to think of failure or to doubt your own power. See only what you wish to experience and look at nothing else. That's another way of saying to look at what you love. Cannot the great principle of life create for us all that we need? The universe is inexhaustible, said Holmes. It is limitless. It knows no bounds and has no confines. We are not depending on a reed shaken by the wind, but on the principle of life itself. For all that we have or ever shall need, we depend on the divine. Fully rely on God. And as we do this, we shall find that things are steadily coming our way, and that they are coming without that awful effort which Holmes says destroys peace of mind the majority for the majority of humankind. We know that there can be no failure in God's mind. And this mind is the power on which we are depending, on which we live and move and have our being. And so with that in mind, I recognize there is only one infinite and loving presence, one power, one life that I call God, but it is known by many names. Some call it Buddha, Jesus, Yahweh, even Yogananda, Mother Teresa. And this power that creates worlds, the same power that is breathing you and myself, you and I. I am being breathed by the divine. It is the breath of God that is radiating through me. I see with the eyes of God. For I am one, forever and eternally and always one with the divine, one with love. And therefore I ask right now and strongly know, absolutely believing that this is the truth of my being, that I let love be my guide every day and in every way, in every situation, in every circumstance. I ask love, which is another name for God, another name for the divine, another name for Buddha, love. I ask love to be my guide, to guide my life. And that I choose on a daily basis to spend some time every day doing what I love, guided by love, letting love guide my daily life. And especially during this month of love, when we are radiating, expanding love on this planet. We are each that love of the divine, the bright light on this planet and beyond. And I send this blessing exceedingly and without exception to everyone, beginning with myself, my family, my neighbors, all of Kamloops, all of BC, all of Canada. And I reach and send that love beyond the borders of our country into the world. And beyond this world into the universe upon universe upon universe upon universe, forever expanding, moving at the speed of light. Do I send my love? Do I radiate my love, which is the love of God in me as me? And so I am so grateful for this. I am so grateful to practice this every day, especially during this month of love. Remembering to fully rely on God. And so in gratitude, I release this treatment. I let it go into that magnificent law of life that always says yes. I simply let go and I let God. And let us anchor this together as we say, and so it is.